Thank you for being here. We will have a around 90 minutes long discussion about green issues or green space issues as a common ground, if you can see them in this perspective in our common cities. First, I would like to introduce you our guest. So it's Ivsic from Zagreb, Hana Jusic, also from Zagreb, Željko Milovanović, excuse me, from Maribor, Slovenia. And I'm Samu Balogh, urban planner from Budapest. And first of all, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself as well, just with one single sentence, so we know each other better and we know what kind of people and what kind of experience we have in the room. Somewhere we have a microphone which can be mobilized. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, great.
My name is Balázs Tömöri and I work for a green NGO, but I came from a local small village right next to Budapest, and the local NGO is thinking about doing something with the municipality elections this autumn.
Hello, my name is Zoltán Erdős. I've been active for many years in a local NGO called the Hungarian, actually it's a national NGO, Hungarian Cyclists Club, and some other initiatives. And since 2 weeks I am working for District 14 here in Budapest for mobility and bicycle issues.
Hi, my name is Judith Fleischer. I'm from Budapest, and I'm interested in everything that's green. I mean, even if the household is green, or even if the city is green. And I used to organize a pedestrian movement, critical moms, women with prams, and we were fighting for our spaces in town.
My name is Peter Witzok. I have a platform called Iskolája. I'm part of the Dutch Cycling Club. I also work for a Dutch company that provides bike share facilities. And I've recently just also started, right now starting a bike leasing, electric bike leasing company. So I'm kind of exporting Dutch cycling in Eastern Europe.
So I'm Erzsébet Schöbel. I'm a pensioner. I used to be a teacher, and I like to do useful things in my free time, and now I have a lot of free time, and I'm a passionate cyclist.
Hi, my name is Emese Gyöngyösi. I work at a university, National University of Public Service, at an institute where we focus on sustainable development studies. We have courses for our students on climate change and its challenges, and we also organize very practical events for the students.
Üdvözlök mindenkit, én Erdőhegyi Márta vagyok.
Egy másodperc, még fel kell venniük akkor a yeah, it's channel 2.
Szóval üdvözlök mindenkit, én Erdőhegyi Márta vagyok, a Város Mindenkié csoport érintett tagja, és ugye itt a hajléktalan emberek és lakásszegénységben élő emberek érdekvédelmével foglalkozunk, és én nagyon szeretnék létrehozni egy önellátó gazdálkodással működő rehabilitációs otthont hajléktalan és szenvedélybeteg emberekkel, és amúgy takarítóként dolgozom, és nagyon fontosnak tartom, hogy környezettudatosan tudjunk higiénikusan élni, valami ilyesmi. Köszönöm.
Köszönöm szépen. Működik? Köszönöm szépen. Varga Nóra vagyok, önkormányzati képviselő egy Budapest környéki kisvárosban, és egy helyi civil egyesület egyik vezetője, amelyik civil egyesület a városunkban elsőrendű feladatának tartja a városi és városkörnyéki természeti környezet védelmét és a város fenntartható működtetésének az elérését. Köszönöm.
Hello, Hello, my name is Renata and I'm a civil activist. I'm working in the same group than Marty. It's called Cities for All and we are working together with homeless people for the right to housing.
Én Rákosmentéről jöttem, Minya Éva vagyok, és a Rákosmenti Civil Háló kb. Egy éve szerveződik, egy civil egyesület lényegében. Ami a zöld témát illeti, két témában vagyunk nagyon elkötelezettek. A Liszt Ferenc repülőtér továbbépítése és terjeszkedése szempontjából, ami az egész környezetünket érinti, környezetvédelmi zaj és légszennyezettség miatt. A másik témakör pedig a merzsemocsárnak a minél jobb védelme, mert nagyon közel van ez is a repülőtérhez, másrészt pedig pár éve rehabilitálták valamelyest a vízhozamát a mocsárnak, és szeretnénk megtartani ezt a élővizet ott a lakóterületünk közelében.
Hi, I'm Judith Spét. I'm an economist, and for a short period in my life, I was involved in politics on the opposition side, of course. My party failed, so now I had to leave politics, and now I'm an activist in a local green group, which is trying to save the last natural Danube coasts of Budapest, where the city wants to build flood protection that would destroy the whole area.
Sziasztok, Virág vagyok. Virág vagyok, és biciklista, és nagyon élvezem a város zöld területeit, és aggódok a értük és a klímaváltozás miatt.
Okay, my name is Orhan Esen. I'm representing two cities. I'm dwelling in between the two, Istanbul and Berlin. And personally, I work in the housing area. I do research on housing issues, but I'm also closely connected to issues of urban space. I was an active part of the Gezi movement. Maybe you have heard of this big upheaval in Istanbul in 2013. 500,000 people occupied a very small park at the very center of the city. And I'm also associated with an NGO which is called Sokak Bizim. The streets are ours, which is, among other things, organizing the car-free day in Turkey.
Sziasztok, én Naszai Márta vagyok, eredeti szakmám szerint tájépítészmérnök, és egy élő, élhető, fenntartható, szolidáris és részvételi város az álmom. Ehhez kapcsolódva most már 8 éve vagyok baloldali és zöldpárti politikus, az első kerületnek az önkormányzati képviselője, és most nyáróta a fővárosnak is önkormányzati képviselője, és kezdettől fogva különböző fenntarthatósági zöld és baloldali projekteket próbálok keresztül vinni ellenzéki képviselőként ezeken az önkormányzatokon. Kisebb-nagyobb sikerekkel.
Hi, I'm Sean Bodden. I'm an urban geographer and I'm interested in the involvement of residents and communities in the development of public space and infrastructure.
Sziasztok, én Jakab Krisztina vagyok, Pest mellől érkeztem én is egy kisebb városból. Nekünk elsősorban a közvilágítás és a járda probléma a legfőbb ügyünk, de most éppen fölbukkant egy olyan probléma egy hónappal ezelőtt, hogy abból tudtuk meg, hogy egy műanyag üzemet fognak bővíteni nálunk, hogy területi átsorolások történtek az építészeti osztályon, és ezzel ellen próbálnánk most valamit tenni.
Hi, I am Edina Zinger. I'm coming from the 9th district of Budapest, and I'm here on behalf of actually 3 organizations. One is a very small community of mothers or of families. It is called Anyahajó Anyaközpont, Mothership Mother Center, if I would like to phrase it in English. And I'm here on behalf of the Ferencváros Community Foundation as well, which is a community foundation, works exclusively in the 9th district. And I'm here on behalf of a newly forming party, which is called Éjjeli Őrség, the Night's Watch. But I was the one who asked the question on the last session, how long it took to form a party. For us now it's 6 months, and we are still not, we submitted we have all the documents ready, we have all the party members and everything, but now it takes for 6 months actually, and we are still not a party yet.
Is there anyone else who hasn't introduced herself or himself? But still wants? Not? Okay. Thank you for telling who you are. Erzsébet will help us with the microphone, so if anyone wants to speak, just raise your hand and we will manage you to get the microphone. So the topic of this workshop is green issues as a common ground in the public. The original idea was to speak about something connected to green, but I thought we could highlight the importance of having green spaces and efficient cycling network and protective cycling network and so on and so on. But we all know it, and it would be important to see other aspects as well. And we are in a year of elections, so I thought it could be an interesting aspect of your work as well. And now I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself and also what you have done or what you are doing currently in your cities. Maybe you already reflect on the topic of the discussion, and that's fine as well. So, Željko, it's your slide, I think. So, please, if you could introduce yourself and what you have done in Maribor.
Okay. First of all, before I go to the... hello. My name is Željko Milovanović from Maribor. I'm going to introduce you our list or a party of cyclists and pedestrians. But before, let's go to our city, Maribor. This is our hometown, second largest city in Slovenia, center of the eastern part of the country. Our country is divided on the western and eastern Slovenia. It is actually a post-industrial city. In the period of Yugoslavia, it was the most important heavy industry city in the whole federation. But after we gained independence, democracy and capitalism, the whole industry collapsed, and you can feel it even now, because we still have one of the highest unemployment rates in the country. Maybe politically the city is divided on 11 districts and 6 local communities. What is local community is similar than district, but districts are parts of the urban area, and local communities are actually the units in the suburbs, more rural. Maribor is a very European city, actually city of big European titles. Last year it was European capital of social economy. Maybe you heard about it. Maybe you heard about this title, but probably not, because we invented it. Then European City of Sport also last year. In 2013 we were European Youth Capital. And what is the most important according to our group, our party is the year 2012 when we were European Capital of Culture. This was the project that promised us the big urban change, the a big change of everything, a new identity, because after the industry fell down, the city was really searching for new soul. I don't know how to explain better. And of course, during this year, we realized that we were naive, and that this was actually political project. That was in this sense of the urban change not successful, because the politicians in that time, they were not honest and ambitious enough to make the real change, and the community realized that this type of politics from top down doesn't work. And actually, the year it ended up really interesting with the huge protests. This was actually at the end of our cultural capital, when we overthrown the corruptive mayor. You can see just one individual, but there were 10,000 people on the streets lots of times, and but we won then, and the conditions were perfect for after this year for Josip Rotar, the famous local cycling activists from the NGO Maribor Cycling Network, coming out with an idea, with the initiative to form an independent list for the next local elections. And it was not hard for him to convince individuals from other NGOs, not just environmental or cycling or pedestrian, but also from culture, youth organizations, etc., etc. And we were collecting these signatures that you need to collect if you want to run for the elections. 450. You must, in the year 2014, you needed to collect 450 signatures. The campaign was performed without any euro, actually, and it happened that the lists of the cyclists and pedestrians entered the city council, and Josip was actually elected as a councillor, one of the 45 members. This mandate of 4 years was kind of successful for us, and also not, because it is very hard to work if you are alone in the city council with all these sharks that know the game. And but still, Josip succeeded with the placing the agenda in the city. The media started to talk, to write, to report on these kinds of issues. And one of the success was the fight against the cutting the budget for the NGOs, because the mayor wanted to. It was a crisis, and he wanted to cut all the budget for NGOs. And after 2014, we decided to go for again for the elections. But in the meantime, the political parties in our parliament, they changed the law of the elections, and the number of the signatures needed to collect for the running the elections doubled. And we were talking, okay, what to do now? We can spend 1 month in the front of the municipality, or we can form a party. We can form a political party because you need just 200 signatures. And then we decided to form a party. In 1 week, we managed to do it. And then we had enough time to prepare the good program, designs, to work in the neighborhoods. Yes, and we came out for the elections last October with a little bit more complex program. I forgot to mention that the program of the 2014 was no problem, just a statement that we want the city that is designed for a human, not for a car. Okay, and in 2018, a few months ago, we came out with a little bit more complex program addressing environmental issues, urban issues, cultural issues, as you can see it here. Okay. These are some pictures from the campaign, and these are pictures of us waiting for the results of the elections, and the elections were quite big success for us. We succeed to come in the city council now with 3 council members. I'm one of them, and right now we are negotiating the coalition with the completely new mayor. The main problem now in this moment, because we are now in this process of negotiation, next week we are going to sign the contract. The coalition is going to consist of 12 parties. I forgot to mention, in these last elections, Josip ran also for the mayor, because if you don't go with the mayor, you don't get any media attention, and you are not invited to the debates and nothing. So we, similar than Zagreb Je Nas, we took this opportunity. Okay, and now this is the list of the lists and parties that entered the city council. Lots of them. There were 16 candidates for the mayor in Maribor on last elections, and 26 lists and parties. So the competition was quite big. So now there are 3 of us in the city council, plus surprise happened in Ljubljana. We also got 1 council member in Ljubljana City Council. I didn't mention it on purpose because it is surprise, because was also surprise for us and also for the guy who was elected. Actually, he was calling us 1 month before the elections. I saw your program. I believe in your vision. I want to run these elections in Ljubljana with you under your flag, with my co-workers from the Ljubljana Bike Kitchen. And he entered without any physical campaign, just with digital, and maybe with some friends. I don't know how to explain it. Doesn't matter. It happened, and actually he has a really good cooperation now with the mayor of Ljubljana, who is a similar profile than mayor from Zagreb. They are very good friends, but he has really good vice mayors with the vision, and they were honest, and they explained to Janez Stariha, our council member, that they need our knowledge. Especially on the cycling policy of the city. However, We just started with our work in the city council. 2 weeks ago, we had the first real council meeting. We are putting a lot of effort to communicate with our voters digitally, personally. We are quite present in the social media, and we decided to make short video reports from all our activities. We were not just elected in the city council, but also in the all district council of the town. These district councils are quite powerless, but we decided to empower them and try to lobby in Ljubljana, in the parliament, to change the law again, to empower the district councils, because we believe that the lower levels are actually more important than the main city council. I can show you this short video after our last session. It is not translated. If you are interested. We don't have sound.
We might not have sound. I mean, it would be in Slovenia, right? So
Yeah. So this is our president, leader, the main character. He is actually explaining the issues of the council meeting, our proposals. Yeah. It's about safety in the traffic. We proposed that the city should sign the agreement with the NGO, professional NGO dealing with this Vision Zero to reduce the number of people harmed in the car accidents or in traffic accidents to zero. This is, I think it's an international certificate. This is Tjaša Gojković is the second council member. She proposed the dog park for dogs, in the first park for dogs in Maribor. We don't have it yet. My suggestion was to the municipality to adopt 85 problems of cyclists and pedestrians that we detected with cooperation with the people, to adopt it in the system of I don't know now the English words, but the municipality has a digital platform for citizens to put the problems inside. But we, during the campaign, we collected separately 85 problems, small problems that can be solved very quickly with the right attitude. They adopt the problems and I received the email today that they decided to do it and starting to save it. Okay, I have one more picture. Maybe it's quite related to the topic of the round table. This picture was taken on Wednesday. In the middle, you can see a woman. This is Urša Zgojznik. She was recognized as the Slovenian Woman of the Year 2018. She's a leader of the biggest environmental NGO in Slovenia, and now she's running the campaign. She's running the elections for the European elections, actually, with the list of a lot of initiatives. The others are representatives of the Pirate Party, Green Party, NGOs, Working Party, and this is actually a coalition of mostly of civil society going to the European elections with the support of European Greens. Okay.
Yeah. Time is running very fast.
Sorry?
Time is running very fast.
Yeah, sorry. I'm done.
Yeah,
Thank
perfect.
You.
Thank you. Before getting into the details of your story, I would like to ask Eva and Hana to also introduce themselves and tell your story about Zagreb Je Nas. So you're all going to be familiar with that.
So shall we do the presentation or just?
Yeah, sure. If you have a presentation, I'd like to show it, of course.
Could we?
Like, I think we can, like 10 minutes in total. Yeah.
Could someone help me?
Yeah.
In our presentation, I think we.
You just. Yeah, right. Well, no, I thought you managed to put it on the computer, but I have it. Please, could you introduce in the meanwhile?
Yes, maybe we should give a short, because Eva and I had a presentation of our party, an hour and a half long presentation of our party an hour ago. So we kind of prepared for this roundtable. We didn't prepare the general presentation, but some specific issues. But just to tell you a few sentences about our party, we are called Zagreb Je Nas. We organized in 2017. In 3 months, we did a campaign, and out of activists and people who belong to different civil initiatives, and we gained like places in the city councils, in district council, and in neighborhood councils. So this is. Do you want to add something?
About that? Well, no, we formed a platform, as Hana said, and today, since the name of the roundtable is like green spaces as a common ground, we actually wanted to speak a little bit how we actually connected to different citizen initiatives in Zagreb before the election, like during the campaign and even before, and then with the initiatives after the elections, and how we actually how we connected this, like our political work with the this community actually organizing, and how we kind of abstracted the topics they were tackling on their level of on the neighborhood level and district level, and how we kind of converted it to a political problem. So yes, we can introduce you with these different initiatives.
Yes, as it says here, from specific problem toward public interest, this is our strategy, because as we said, somehow it seems that it's the easiest to mobilize people over a very specific problem in their neighborhood. So we took our 3 biggest things, and maybe some of them more or less successful. It's 3 different actions, 3 different events. Like the first one is in 3 completely different parts of the city. The first one that happened before the elections, it's in this very well very well planned socialist neighborhood. I don't know if you have them also in Budapest, like the neighborhoods that were planned in the 70s and the 60s, and this neighborhood mostly have very lively green spaces that people from the neighborhood use. And here we had a problem because our mayor wanted to build a church on the site of the neighborhood's park, which was like the heart of the neighborhood. So we organized, not we, but the citizens organized around it, and it was before the local elections, and somehow our activists joined them and helped them organize. And out of this initiative, which is very important, when we went to local elections, we somehow pulled some of the people from citizen initiatives that wouldn't usually join politics. So we had this connection with like not activists, not people that are leftists that are from the universities, but these ordinary people from the neighborhood that really wanted to change something. And this park, not church but park, it really gave us some momentum in the campaign and before the campaign. The second two examples actually happened when we already got into the local governments, and this is where we had to use our councillors. When we were not only activists anymore, but we were councillors, and we had to use our councillors and our local councils to organize people from different neighborhoods. Here, the second example is an old working class neighborhood where there is not many green spaces because it was an industrial neighborhood, and it is already the green spaces are disappearing there, and there is one green space left where people are walking their dogs, and they are the neighborhood is living there, and the mayor decided to give this space to private investors who would build a three-track road and some corporate buildings and some skyscrapers. So again, we kind of used the neighborhood power and also the power of our neighborhood councillors to rise against this. And the third example is we have this very important square in the middle of the city where you have this building that was how do you say it? That was
the project was done
by our very famous sculptor Meštrović, and the mayor decided to because this area is supposed to be a place where now some luxury hotels are being built, and the mayor decided to just, you see how do you see the here? This is the old picture, the picture before. So this building was surrounded by by trees, by a park, by benches. We had like pensioners sitting there, people walking their dogs, kids drinking on the stairs of this this building, skaters. It was a cult skaters place, and the mayor decided to kill everything, and he just chopped off all the trees and put this, almost artificial grass that you just put layers of grass, and then now it's forbidden for dogs to use it, and it has no benches, and if you sit there and have a beer, the police comes and takes you away. So the place is dead now. You have this huge white building in the middle of nothing. So these are three cases that we will deal with in the presentation.
Okay, and so now I'll tell you a little bit more how we actually connected. So our platform was formed mostly from activists that had from people who had previous activist background, and some of them were people who through different NGOs such as Right to the City already were related to the local citizen initiatives in Zagreb. And so in this first example in this park where the church wanted to build a church, we already worked before with those people, and the two other initiatives we kind of we met them and started to work with them after we entered the city government. And so what is our experience? So we and why did we took these three examples? So we realized that there are specific community problems that we have to talk about, not only in the neighborhoods where it's happening, but also on the political level. And since we decided to enter the politics as well and not just be activists and in the streets, we realized that we have to these specific problems that we have to find the common ground of these specific problems, and that we have to abstract it and to do it like with the people and the citizens who are organizing in these neighborhoods. So actually, in all of these examples, what we realized is that you have somebody who is against you and who is like very powerful. So in the first case with the park, we had a church against, who was like very powerful institution with a lot of money. In the second, you had like private investors who are also very powerful and can do whatever they want in the city. And the third was like the city government and our very corrupt mayor, who is actually very related to these also private investors. So in all of these three examples, I will say a little bit later about it, but we talked with people, and we were trying to get to this conclusion, and to at the end to realize that we have like actually the same problem, and that we like have to understand that this is like something which is public and which is like a public interest, and that we actually have to realize that all of these problems are our own, like of all of us, and that we actually have like to be not just mobilized in like specific neighborhood, but also be solidar to when it happens to in other neighborhoods, and this like kind of common ground kind of open the space that we have this kind of solidarity and understanding. So after this first situation with the park, which happened before during the campaign, we actually mobilized people from that neighborhood into these two other situations to support people and citizens in these two other neighborhoods. Okay, Hana.
This is you can see the same picture here. This is this kind of stall. Yeah, that's it. Okay, thanks. So what we actually said earlier, the main goal was to gather the community and to find this common ground, and to have this fighting feeling in the people. So we are fighting for one and only park. So this is our common ground. This is so nice to see how we managed to find ways to gather people in these. You see these rooms. These are rooms that are rooms of neighborhood councils, right? To use this local infrastructure that previously was completely closed to the people whom it concerns, who had absolutely no sense of democracy, of participatory decision making. So we kind of brought people to these rooms and institutions that are really concerning them, and so we were trying to create means of communication. For our experts, for people who deal with these things and know about these things, how to educate people, how to bring them there. Also, of course, we had Facebook pages and different ways of communicating, but the most important part was to physically gather people together, to make this feeling of neighborhood who is connected around a certain problem, and to, in a way, educate them and give them information that would give them a certain sense of power over what is happening in their neighborhood. Because people in Zagreb, they are used to not having a least amount of power in terms of what is happening to their neighborhood, not a least amount of decision making or control.
Okay, we already mentioned that, but I'll just like add a little bit. In this first, we actually we worked together with these citizen initiatives. In the first example, we worked as activists, and we actually, as activists who already had experience in like mobilizing and protesting and in campaigning in this kind of action. So we did it together, and later with these two other initiatives, we actually did it as already like local representatives, their representatives in neighborhood councils and district councils, and also in the city assembly. So what we did was first we opened these spaces, which are like their spaces, our spaces, and there we talked about, there we built like this argumentation together, and then we again together, but also again with people who are like media workers, we together we found like the coherent media message, which we like put it like in the media, and together we came to a conclusion that like that this issue is something of public interest, and like to defend the park is actually defending the city. Okay.
So I think we already said. And this is maybe Eva, you can say this because you know about it more. It's again.
Yeah,
okay,
we
this
are
is
just two more.
What we saw as our biggest success was that we organized citizen assemblies.
Okay, so not only that we used the infrastructure which we kind of gained after entering the neighborhood councils and the district councils, and which people in this neighborhood kind of at that moment became aware of it and became aware that they can actually use it. We also realized that since people actually don't know how the structure of the government and the local government actually works, and what are the things that are written in the statute of the city. So, for example, we realized that there is like a very powerful tool of democracy which was never used in Zagreb, and it is like this citizen assembly. So for the first time we organized two of them with these two initiatives that happened after we entered the local government, so at this citizen assembly we together we brought up a conclusion, and this conclusion had to on the neighborhood level and then on the district level the representatives just had to accept it, because there were like tens of people, like 60, 70, 80, I think even 100 people were at the citizen assembly. So the local representatives from other parties couldn't ignore that. So in both cases we had a conclusion on a level of on the council level, on the neighborhood, in the district level. And in the first situation with the park, so we weren't in the government still, in the institutions. But what happened is we entered. It happened actually in my district, and it was and we were in the opposition, and actually in the opposition of the ruling party, which is like the mayoral party, the party of the mayor, who wanted to build the church in the connection with the church in the park. And so when we entered, actually I realized also that that there is also a very powerful tool of democracy, which was never used, that we can call people to come to our councils. Then they can be there, they can listen, and they cannot talk, but we can talk in their names. So we actually called people on the first assembly of the district assembly. We call all of these people from the initiative for the park, and so I was talking in their name, but there were so many of them, and it was like first council, and so our the opposition representatives, they just didn't know what to do. So we at this first session we also brought a conclusion in which we said like as a district council that we don't want church there, and that we want people from the initiative to be involved in creating and thinking of how to create this space in their neighborhood, which was like it never happened before in Zagreb.
Do you want us to finish?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. If you have questions, please raise your hand, and then you can ask your questions. We have, I think, a bit more than half an hour left, so really, if you have something to add or ask, just show it to us. So I think in both examples, there were issues concerning sustainability or green areas and so on, which you used. From your example, I understood that the common ground wasn't the only important thing. You also needed a common enemy, kind of, which we can relate to perfectly to this agenda here in Hungary. If you want more knowledge on it, so, like, you don't need an enemy, you can create it yourself. But my question is, and you partly answered it as well, like, is it possible to go forward and build a bigger, like, unite more people or unite the same people on a wider aspect of issues, local issues connected to the city, built on the green common ground. I think, Željko, you kind of expressed it, because in 2014 you were only talking about pedestrians and cyclists to build a city for people, not for cars. But in 4 years you started talking, or maybe you started earlier, but you started talking about culture and other aspects as well. Like, do you think it's possible to keep these people who maybe they could only unite because green areas is something that can be important for everyone, because everyone enjoys sunlight and grass and trees. But can you keep together these people in other aspects as well, when it comes to social aspects and cultural, economic, and so on?
Yeah, everything is actually turning around the social sustainable development, and all these aspects are very connected. I believe our initiative is going to spread all around the country, because after the last elections, people from other cities are calling us. They want to be active in their cities with the similar agenda. They want to join the cyclists and pedestrians, because actually cyclists and pedestrians, the name is a hack because lots of people are making fun of us, haha, cyclists and pedestrians, but when they start to think about it, they can realize, or maybe we can inform them that we are all cyclists and pedestrians. Actually, on average, we spend 30 minutes per day in the car. When we step out of the car, we are humans, walking or cycling humans. Yes, I believe on the local levels of our country, our story is going to spread. Also because of the lack of typical green parties at the local levels, I think we filled this hole of the green parties at the local level, and in general, the political parties are quite weak on the local level. They are mostly interested in the national politics. And usually they start, the politicians start their careers at the local level, but they take the first opportunity to go to Ljubljana to work for the national parliament parties.
And when you talk about other aspects than cycling and being a pedestrian, do you get that? Why are you talking about this? You are a cyclist and pedestrian list, and you shouldn't talk about other things, or it's normal that you have a broader image of world and life?
We are cyclists and pedestrians. The first reason is that the guy who initiated the party is from the cycling NGO. And the second reason, we could name our party also People's Party, But this is, I don't know how to explain better than we put it on purpose as a hack to make people think about it. But we are addressing environmental, even though from the cycling perspective, we are addressing health issues and environmental issues. Cultural as well, because at least in Maribor, people who are consuming culture, they usually come with bicycles. And really, maybe it's similar in other cities, but there are lots of cyclists among this, or cultural organizers or the public. This is it. Did I answer your question?
Kind of, thank you. In Zagreb, when you want to build a community which cares about their neighborhoods and so on, is it on purpose, like it's a tactic move to choose an issue regarding an urban green space or a park or something connected to the green? Because you think then it's easier to engage people with caring about their neighborhood, or simply it happened because these were the important issues that time?
Both, definitely. I mean, we didn't just, cunningly say, we are going to engage people around the green issues, but we are a local party, so this is where we come from, and this grassrooting is something that we found as a right approach. Without this, politics that comes from above, politics that is inclusive, participatory, democratic, without hierarchy, and we really wanted to try it out in a way that we don't approach people from these, to approach them from the position like we are the same as you, we just want to change things. So this is, I think this is a politically wise move, but also we didn't do it just to trick them. So we will pretend.
Yeah, I'm just provoking a bit.
Yeah, I know, but there is a part. Of course, there is a part in it. We talked about it earlier, you and I. That on these points, on these grounds, when you find common grounds, you can easily. You don't have to talk about your, for instance, very left beliefs with them. So you can hide it a bit and attract them with some other issues. It's true, it's much easier to do this on a local level than on a national level, where these questions immediately emerge.
I just will add one thing. It's not like we chose these people or these subjects. Actually, what happened is like the people organizing their communities for something or against something, and what we did. Some of us are from these neighborhoods, or what we realized and we did is like we like offered our experiences, knowledge, and together with them, like we kind of built a campaign and and later connected to other initiatives. We also had like a few situations in Zagreb where people were, for example, I was at one meeting with also with some local like citizen initiative in one neighborhood that they were asking for more places in kindergartens and primary schools, and they called us because they knew that we are already involved in these kind of issues in other neighborhoods. So we came to a meeting with them, and what they told us, okay, we need your help. You know how to do it. Please do it. And then we said, no, we cannot do it. It's you who have to do it. We can help you in all levels. And so we had like a few meetings, and then we realized they don't have capacities, and that actually they don't want to do it in that way, and so we just like we didn't want to be there and to do that. So it's kind of a mutual like mutual building of these campaigns and yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 questions. 3.
Thank you. I think, yeah, your story is very, I think we can very much relate to it. I think there are very, quite a few layers that we basically have the same issues. I think, you know, I'm probably one of the so-called campaigners who can afford to be a campaigner. And I see a lot of people in Budapest and Hungary who, you know, they're very active, they're trying to achieve things, but how would they fund themselves? So the question to you, how do you actually, you know, maintain? How do you start? How do you, how do you actually live while you do this work? What pays you? Thank you.
Well, actually, most of the people who are involved in platform Zagreb Je Nas are employed people and who work other. Like she's a film director, I'm a teacher, but like in our the rest of the time we are doing this, and really our campaign for the elections was predominantly based on voluntary work. And from on the donations of the people and crowdfunding. And now, after we entered the local government, so all of the representatives, all of the councillors on all levels get some amount of money. It's not enough to live from it, and actually we do not perceive it as something as our salaries, but actually we give it. Most of the people actually give the whole amount of the money to back to Zagreb Je Nas, but we agreed on a platform level that we have to give like at least 30% of it. So now we have some input of the money which we can use in different situations.
Željko, do you want to add something?
In our case, I have to admit we took a loan of 5,000 euros because when we established the party, if you succeed to enter the council, then by the law you get back the finances for the campaign, and we took a loan of 5,000 euros, and we believe that we are going to succeed with it. It is not a lot because the competition had the campaigns worth 100,000 euros, but it was enough for us. And even if we wouldn't succeed to enter the city council, we would pay it from our pockets because there were enough of us. I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to add one thing. This is something we never speak publicly, but the truth is that also since we have this activist background and a lot of people actually worked in different NGOs, these NGOs couldn't be connected to a new political party we built. But especially because we got money from the city, from the government, and also from different international funds. But what we could do is to free time from people like activists, people who are employed in these NGOs. We could free part of their time to work for the platform and for the party, and that's actually like a big investment in our movement, or like in the platform. So we never talk about it publicly because it's not good, but actually it is very false if we don't say it, because it is like really important part of the money. I mean, it's not like the money, but it's time. So.
Sean?
I was actually just wondering if you could say a little more about this bullet point here, the creating new methods for decision making in the city. So I'd like to hear a little more, maybe from both campaigns, about the kinds of decision making methods you used, and then also whether there were any tensions between those who were making decisions and then those who had to implement the decisions afterwards in terms of the labor involved.
But this is actually. We talked about this earlier in terms of these city assemblies, citizen assemblies, and also the fact that we kind of are open in a way. We all of our district have Facebook pages, and in these Facebook pages we have the administrators that gather the inputs from the citizens, and they do it very diligently. And it happens that people come to us with their problems, and it happens all year long, not just during the campaign. So in a way, we serve. I'm a district councillor, and I really come to the meetings with things that were that are inputs from the people living there. So in that way, it seems that people got their way into the districts, which didn't happen before. No one asked them anything about it. And also these citizen assemblies are the most extreme example where people voted and they were like, do you want a road in your neighborhood? Everyone voted no. So this is the first time that they actually had a vote on something. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Maybe I can add something also related to this, how do you call it, neighborhood assemblies or district assemblies. Yeah, this happened after our small revolution in Maribor. Also, this kind of assemblies happened in our districts, but these are not legal forms in the statute of the municipality, but these were actually self-organized assemblies working on the participatory decision making and trying to make a pressure on the municipality. And these assemblies are not directly connected with our movement, but the individuals of these assemblies, I'm also one of them, came out as politicians now. But most of them, they don't want to deal with the politics, but they do support us. And still, these district assemblies are alive, functioning, and now we are still part of it, and we are listening, cooperating, and now trying to put the agenda on the higher levels. During the campaign, we were collecting, as I mentioned before, the problems of pedestrians and cyclists digitally on the Google Maps, and I think this method was is getting quite successful, because we are collecting together the problems in the one place, and then together we are then making pressure on the decision makers. But now we are also decision makers.
And I just wanted to add, considering this question, that we really take meticulous care that we are always on the side of the weaker one. But this, what people demand from us, that it is not something like not in my backyard. You know, sometimes people, for instance, we had a situation where the asylum center is being built, so people are afraid, and we said, no, we will not help you with this. Or we had a building where there is the lab for blood tests being installed, so people were afraid that their children will contract HIV because of these people. So we said no. So we have to know that people have to know that we cannot help all their initiatives because they are not within our, field of beliefs.
Okay, so my question goes not to the panelists, but to the audience. It will be indeed discussed in the very last session, but maybe someone has already made up mind or wants to prepare for it. So it's about what inspirations have you got from the presentations here? Because I come from a city where we have a very, very similar background, Istanbul. So we have a very similar political situation. So you have been speaking about the common enemy, okay? So we also have a very divided opposition. And it's a city where there are literally hundreds of local initiatives for public space, for mobility, for housing issues, and so on. But in our context, the activist environment doesn't form itself into political movement, into municipalist movement, but is rather co-opted by the established oppositional parties. A very simple reason for that is, of course, a city with 15 million people has a budget which is bigger than the total budget of Slovenia, let's say. Okay, so if you are just fighting for a park, I can show you like 3 dozen of park situations, as you have shown. But if you are active in such a very local context, you will feel very powerless, politically competing for the entire cities, or even a district. If you speak about districts, districts have average size of 400,000 people. We have 40 districts, each 400,000. Okay, so even on district level, you feel powerless because of the budget sizes. Therefore, people who want to become active politically, they go to the established parties, or the established parties kind of soak them, co-opt them. So therefore, this municipalist political movement does not really exist, but I think it should be constructed. That's my thought. So here in Hungary, we have also a very similar situation, I think, in a way, more similar compared to your situations. That's why also this whole thing happens here. That's why I'm asking the audience, what kind of inspirations have you got? So I feel more empowered, and kind of, did this whole setup change your mind, looking at the politics in a different way than you did before, let's say 2 years ago or whatever? Thank you.
There was someone in the back. Yeah, but you both want to answer this question? Kind of, and you in the back. Yeah, if you want to answer this, but then please go on in the front. Okay, then.
So I'm in connection with this. It's more of a suggestion and a question to you also, and an inspiration. As I've written my thesis last year in urban sociology about community mediation being used in settlement development. And I was just wondering whether it hasn't been long here in Hungary. It's been in the last 4 or 5 years that it existed at all. And there are like 2 settlements where it was initiated by the municipality to invite local interest groups and have this forum of community mediation with mediators who were actually dealing with the different types of problems that they were bringing. And the idea here was to set the settlement development concept for the long term. But of course, this can be used for smaller areas like districts. But the main thing here is that it was initiated by the municipality, and some of them, maybe the mayor even, were participating in this group, but only just as one member, bringing their own ideas, but all the others were there also. So in such a case, for example, like this blood test center and all that, you know, if you have this community there or this area, you invite all the people and somebody represents this part also, then probably all the others will understand at the end. So you don't even have to say, I'm not standing on your side, because they will understand that, of course, this is a very important issue. And they have to find out how it's going to be dealt with. And this is what mediation is for. And I was just wondering if you have that in your country, or if there's any history to that, or I'm just suggesting that it might be a good idea to use it. Thanks.
Yes, when Hana said we say no, actually it's like not that like we say no and we don't deal with them or with this kind with people and initiatives with these kind of suggestions. But what actually we do with what we do have a problem is capacities. So we actually do these kind of things more through our organizations. and we actually we organize different like these public events through which we address these questions. We call different people who can talk from different perspectives about it. And yeah, we did it before, and we are still doing it through our organization. But like in Zagreb Je Nas, like for last 2 years, we are really like we are totally exhausted because people are just coming, sending emails, asking questions, asking for help, and it's like really hard. And I think it's really a long run, and we have to include more people. We have to work on with them in a way that they realize that they have to take responsibility. It's not just we, like I don't know, the 40 of us who are in the councils. So it is like a long run, but yes, I totally agree with you, and it's something we have to do. Otherwise, we have like just like part of the voters that will be with us because we are like together. We agree, and a lot of people who actually might support us if they understand that actually what we want is something good for them also.
I don't know if I will answer your question now according to this mediation. This self-organized assemblies are not recognized by the municipality at all, but are moderated by professionally trained moderators who they were trained with the help of Norwegian fund, and but they are paid from nowhere. Okay. Okay.
Wow, I see 4 different people asking. Yeah, we have 5 minutes left, so ask your question, all of you. Just be a bit quick with asking, please.
Yes, thank you. So my question is whether we can somehow find both inspiration and change in somewhat radically reconceptualizing the way plants, especially trees, live with us in cities. And what I mean that if I could decide, I would immediately ban cutting any trees. So that's what I mean by a little bit radical. And I finish here, just one more thought that so when we have been organizing demonstrations, for example, to save old plane trees on Nagymező Street here in Budapest, even a very conscious friend, conscious about these issues, said that people don't realize how much cleaner the air for us because of these trees. And then I thought, it came to my mind, that still instrumentalize the trees. They have the right to stand there. So my question is, would you agree that we should very quickly move to an understanding that they have personality? That's the radical thing, maybe, and we have to respect. So when we talk about the tree, we don't say it stands there for 100 years or more, but she or he, your choice. Well, thank you.
Maybe we should listen first for the questions and then you can answer. Perfect. Yep, there.
Köszönöm szépen. Én reflektálni szeretnék az úr kérdésére, mennyi inspirációt kaptunk ezekből az előadásokból. Én Ivát és Hanát végighallgattam az előző műhely beszélgetésben is, és mint olyan személy, aki a gyakorlatban és a hétköznapokban foglalkozom hasonló dolgokkal, azt gondolom, hogy nagyon sok inspirációt kaptunk. Nekem elsősorban a gyakorlati, lebonyolításbeli, technikai információk voltak fontosak, amiket kaptam, illetve egy nagyon fontos saját tapasztalásomat erősítette meg a 2 hölgy, nevezetesen fel kell adnunk bizonyos politikai abszolútumnak vélt dolgokat, akkor, hogyha valódi alulról szerveződő közösséget akarunk ügyek mentén építeni. A zöld ügyek, mint közös minimum, ez egy tökéletes alap arra, azt gondolom, hogy minden irányú politikai, minden irányból való politikai gondolatot félre söpörve embereket összetarthassunk, vagy együtt mozgathassunk. Ebben én teljesen egyetértek, de azt gondolom, hogy ezt meg is kellene fogadnunk, vagy meg is kellene tanulnunk. Abban is egyetértek az úrral, hogy ma Magyarországon nagyon nehéz dolga van annak, aki civil kezdeményezés alapján akar felépíteni bármit, és esetleg bejutni akár a helyi politikába, akár az országosba. Nagyon nehéz dolga van, annak óriási ellenszéllel, óriási tiltakozással kell megküzdeni, az emberek apátiájával és bizalmatlanságával. De felhívnám a figyelmet arra, a magunk figyelmét, hogy amit a Zágráb a miénk mozgalom megcsinált, nevezetesen a civil kezdeményezéseket egy politikai szinttel följebb tette, és jelen van az önkormányzatokban, az elengedhetetlenül szükséges bárminek az eléréséhez. Például a fakivágások megakadályozásához is. Tehát nagyon sok munka, nagyon aprólékos, nagyon sziszifuszi munka, de ha nincs valamiféle politikai kötődés az önkormányzatoknál, legalább ezen a szinten, akkor a civil kezdeményezések nem tudnak megfelelő eredményt elérni. A legjobbak sem, a legcélszerűbbek sem, a legszükségesebbek sem. Nekem az volt a legfontosabb inspiráció most itt, hogy fel kell adnunk azokat a gondolatokat, amiket Magyarországon a pártpolitikában eddig meg kellett tanuljunk, vagy meg kellett tapasztaljunk, és valahonnan egész máshonnan kell elkezdeni, és nekem ehhez borzasztó sok segítséget nyújtott a két hölgy most. Köszönöm szépen.
Szuper. Péter és Judit, még nektek voltak kérdésétek, hozzászólásaitok? Nem? Judit?
Okay, I'll be very short. It was interesting to see that one thing that in Zagreb, it seems to have you have the soulmate of the Hungarian city mayor. So that it's incredible. We both have city mayors who hate trees. You can't put it any other way. But what I see is that I think generally a problem in politics in Hungary is that it's mostly older people, middle-aged and older people who are following politics and involved, and they are much more active as voters than young people, which I think is a major problem in doing responsible public policy, because parties are only looking to please elderly. And that has very, very, very serious costs. And probably green issues are one of the issues where one can approach the younger generation to get involved. So getting them involved maybe first at the local level might have a positive feedback on national politics.
So if you have any answers or final comments on the questions and comments, then please tell us.
Okay, I would like to reply to Mr. In the back. I think our city is very aware of what you were talking about, because every tree in our city that needs to be cut down from any reason, or it is dead, or because the city needs to change the communal infrastructure, and or the routes are ruining the road. Every tree deserves at least one article in local newspapers. We know the city is aware of every tree that is falling down, but there fortunately there are not a lot. There are, I don't know, city loses 2 to 3 trees per year maximum. But this is I thought this might be interesting to you, that the awareness is, I think, quite high. And we don't have problems like in Zagreb. Okay, Zagreb is 10 times bigger, but since, I don't know, in last 10 years, there were no cuttings of the green spaces because of the one mayor wanted to build a church in this place.
Sounds great. Let's move to Maribor then. Do you have anything to add or like a final comment? Because we kind of finished with time.
My colleague from a council, every year when we do a financial plan, he says we have to plant 1 tree in the district, and so the others say, okay, this is good. So I agree with Mr. behind. I just wanted to say I agree totally with you, and I just wanted to say one anecdote. Like during our campaign, since we were very connected to this citizen initiative that was fighting for the park, and actually we had this like history of like protest and actions and organizing that way. So we like brought this like narrative into our campaign. And after we broke up the media blockade, something like happened, something really interesting. We were with these people on the protest in the park, and like we gather with them like very like often. And after we launched our campaign, at once, all of the politicians from other parties started to come to the park, and they were sitting there and saying, "Oh yeah, this is our fight. We are struggling for this, and yes, these are the questions we have to tackle. These are the problems we have to tackle." Although the years before, even the local politics was the one, especially for the city assembly, was very similar to the national one. It was like talk about like the fight between 2 major parties, which is like conservative right and social democrats. So this was like really like kind of a breakthrough in like different narrative for the local politics. And I think, although it's much harder, but I think on the national level it can be done as well.
So thank you for everyone. Thank you for coming, and also thank you Željko, Hana, and Iva for coming and talking about your experience. If you could give them an applause, please. So.